Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to go over bench bleeding your master cylinder and why you should bench bleed your master cylinder. This video isn't to teach you how to troubleshoot what's wrong with your master cylinder. This video is strictly to teach you how to bench bleed it and why to bench bleed your master cylinder. Alright, so even though my YouTube videos deal a lot with the CTS cars, doing this will be applicable for most cars out there. Before we get started, why don't you go ahead and hit that subscribe button down there in that corner. I'm trying to get my subscription levels up, so you hitting that subscribe button will help out a lot. All right, to begin, these are the things you're going to need for your bench bleeding. Now, the reason they call it a bench bleed because what you should be doing is be at a bench with a one of those vices on there that will clamp it down and hold it nice and still for you for this process. It's just a lot easier that way. So if you do happen to have a vise that's mounted to a bench, that's the perfect thing to do, opposed to trying to do it all by hand. But for these purposes, for my demonstration, I'm going to be doing it by hand. All right, so what do you need to do for this process? So you're going to need your new master cylinder. One of these kits right here, I got this one off. I think I paid 10 bucks for it off of Amazon. It's everything you need to do the bench bleed. You're going to need a good supply of your brake fluid to be able to fill up your reservoir here. And see back here, one thing I want to note first, you see this right here? This right here is the gasket. When you're changing yours, make sure you have that. If it's not on here, transfer the one over from your old one over to the new one, all right? But besides for that, this right here, when you press on your brake, what's happening is there's a rod that's being pushed up in here that's pushing this in to create that pumping action in here to pump that brake fluid through your system. And what we're gonna do to simulate that, I just have one of my extensions for my ratchets, and I'm just gonna put it in there, and we're going to use that to, here, let me show you, see how it moves in, to pump that in. Now the reason you want to do this is because when you change your master cylinder, if you just go in and mount it into your car, pour fluid up in here, and then go in and then start pumping your brakes and pumping the fluid through your system, what you're also doing is pumping all of that air that was trapped up in here. Because when you poured your fluid in here, it trapped a lot of air through the system up in here. And what you're going to do is now introduce all of that air up in here into your brake line. And so now in order to get all that air out of your brake line, you're going to have to bleed each one of your four calipers on your car, all four wheels, in order to get all of that air out. And that's going to take you through a lot of fluid and a lot of pumping and opening up the valve to get that air out of there. So to help prevent that, you bench bleed in order to get the air out ahead of time. So to do that, you have on here, we have two holes. Now each one of them, one is for the front and one is for the rear brakes. And so what you do, you find in your kit over here, so your kit is going to be made up of different items here. The hoses that you need, so you should have your hoses. You're going to have these right here. I'll show you how those are used. And then you're going to have different sizes of these. So, because they don't know what size you're going to need. So you just look for what size work for you. And then you just screw that on up in there. Like so. Take another one. Squeeze it up in there. All right. Take your cap off. And these right here, we're going to put on here because it's going to be able to hold the hose, because you're going to have this hose right here going from here up into here and sticking down into your fluid. So as you're bench bleeding it, is pumping the fluid from here, through here, back into here. And then when you don't see any more air bubbles in the line, that's when you know you're ready to go ahead and mount it up. So we'll put this up here like that, and put that up there like that. And so now when you run your hose from here, you can clamp it into there, run it over, clamp it into there so it stays there into the reservoir. So now what I'm going to do, I need to get some scissors because I'm going to need to, well, I guess I don't have to get scissors. Let's just take this as is. I was going to trim it down, but actually I don't need to do that. It's one piece, so actually I do need a scissor so I can cut it. All right, with the magic of cameras, I went from one hose to now 2 hoses. So now at this point, I'll take it, feed it on there as such. Get it on there good because you don't want it to blow off on you, because then you get that fluid, that very toxic fluid all over the place. So we have our 2, you'll take 1. Put it down. Just one. Take that off. I'll go like that. And like that. Now, I'll put that back in. And I'll put that on. Hey, and one other very important thing. So when you're doing this, now you saw me hand tighten these in here. Take a little wrench and make sure to tighten them down. Don't try to over torque it, it's just plastic, but get them nice and tight in there because you want a good seal with the threads up into there, because if you don't, not only can fluid leak out, but air can get introduced in there too as you're pressing this in and out. So make sure just to tighten that down real good over here. Now I'm going to take my brake fluid and I'm going to pour it in here and fill her up. All right. Now I have fluid in here. I have my hoses connected. They're going up and they're dumping it back into here. So now I'm going to take my extension. And the reason I like this is it's blunt on the end. It's not like a flathead or something that may end up damaging on the inside. Now on the bench, it'll be easier because it'll be holding this for you. And then you just have to push this in, but with your hand. Without that, I'm going to need to hold this, keep it balanced so this doesn't spill out. And then, can you see those bubbles going through there? And I'm not sure if you can even hear the, so you can see all that bubbling going on down up in there too. And you want to keep doing that until there's no more air coming through the line. As you can see, there's a lot of air. So you can imagine how much air you would have introduced into your system. And I would say to be careful. You don't want to be, if you're holding it by hand and doing this like me, you don't want to keep moving back and forth like this because your fluid is going to draw from here and go back here. And so you can be pushing this back and forth this rod while at some points these tubes are actually exposed to the free air. You know what I mean? And then you're actually sucking air right up in there and undoing what you're trying to do. So make sure to probably keep it more tilted this way while you're doing that to make sure fluid is always in covering up your hoses, and your hoses are deep down in there. All right, so another option for bench bleeding is also pretty straightforward too as well. Basically what we did inside, but this time you're going to have it mounted already onto the car. You have everything hooked up just like you do here. And you can see the lines are separated. The brake lines are disconnected and the clear hoses are connected to it. And you're just going to go inside and pump your brakes and just keep pumping them until all the air is out. And that's the other way you can bench bleed it, right on your car as well. And so that's basically how you bench bleed your master cylinder. Again, if you like, hit that like button and definitely hit that subscribe button as well. And thanks for watching.